Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Hi guys. Borut Peterlin here together with my son Leon, and we are working. Yeah, I'm very sorry for not being vlogging for a whole month, but I have a good excuse. In last month I've done 26 carbon prints for exhibition in Monsaras. Then I had exhibition opening in Prague, in Brno. And the next day I had an opening, no, I had my daughter had a prom. So I had to go back from Czech Republic to Slovenia. Then I had to go back to Prague where I had exhibition. The opening, the president of Slovenian parliament came, the vice president of Czech parliament came, the mayor of Novo mesto, and lots of politicians and ambassadors. I had lots of talks on photography with students and many. I had a demonstration of collodion processes, and on Sunday, this Sunday, on 7th, I will be in Valencia, Spain, and next Sunday, 14th, I will be in Lisbon, Portugal. I have an opening on 17th of May in Monsaras. And so this is all I could do. Beside that, I received also my recognition from Municipality of Straža for the work I do in. How do you like it?
Good.
It's good. It's very beautiful, huh? So excuse.
Dada,
Yeah.
Can we finish?
Yeah, we will finish. 1 second. And so I just want to finish this. Could you stand here? I just want to finish this with this that just 1 second. I will finish. Okay. So I have a boss here. Aside everything, I'm also enjoying being a father, single parenting. It's good. It's fun. I have a pleasure. It's not very often that I can, but this is a real pleasure for me. So anyway, talking about my Patreons, in June I will make lots of rewards for everybody, or for everybody that has their time. But for now, I just want to send this carbon print on paper to Craig Wilson from Virginia, USA. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks to everybody who are supporting me. And for now, I just prepared the interview, the talk that I had in Prague. So thank you so much, and top shit happens.
So on this universe, on this silence, and I will be here even that everything goes silent. When the heart no longer beats, I'm still silent, and I'm still the universe. Greeting, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to invite you and welcome you to the Talk with the Author. I'm probably a master's student in fine and visual arts in Prague. Today, I will be your chaperone to the mystical world of New Earth and Silence by Borut Peterlin, the master behind this whole mystical project, which will take us to a journey of paradise reimagined and how the sufferings of the world take place. So I would like to introduce Mr. Borut Peterlin, the man behind the genesis of this world. Thank you. So we'll start with a little light topics approaching the whole project. What do you think your approach was when you started this project initially, and how you look at it now?
So we artists, we usually create from what is coming from inside. And in 2020, beginning of 2020, COVID happened. But before COVID, for me, COVID was kind of like a alibi to disappear. For me, 2019 was the second worst year of my life, and the worst one was when I burned myself at camping and I almost died. So just that you know, it was like 2019 was really difficult because 2017, basically, what happened was like this. It was 2019. I realized that my dreams to have a family and to have to rebuild my family was sliding away, and into 2020 I realized it is gone, and The woman that I had my child with went to Sydney, and then COVID happened, which means then for next 2.5 years I didn't saw my son. So it was very, very difficult period of my life. But I am very disciplined person, and I said, I will not let this push me down. So that's why I started to do my art project. And this is actually, then the COVID started, and everybody, that was like a good alibi to move, to disappear. And that's how also these poems appeared, which are basically all about who we are, who I am, about the silence, about the peacefulness, and about the eternity and the mortality, and so on.
Yeah, that's like a really interesting understanding of how the things happening in your real life shape the way you think in terms of your art, and in terms of projects, how you approach the world. So what were like, when you started doing this project, did you have any objective, any end goal in your mind to create something or build up a world around it? And what were your thoughts?
I'm a father of 3 kids. So I said, I have to make a book. I have to make money. I'm a professional artist. And it sounds counter stereotypical, like, bohemian artist, like being on all sorts of substances. I'm just the opposite. I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol. I never tried any drugs. I don't smoke. I'm living more healthy than the most fanatic person. And of course, I have 3 kids, and they need my support. And that's my art is very. I mean, I don't want to sound too business-like, but I do have this business. I do have this responsibility very strongly in my mind, and I also know that art is not the best way, the easiest way to earn money. So when I was doing this, I said, okay, this has to be a book, has to be a good show, and there was one really important thing. I was a professional photographer, commercial photographer. I was very successful. I photographed presidents, businessmen, CEOs. I photographed everybody from like the notorious Putin to Merkel to all of the politicians and presidents of countries. And I earned myself money that I could build my house for my family. And so I was very successful in that. And then I said, okay, then I got really sick of photography as a photographer in general. So then I started to say, okay, that's enough. I want to go back in art. And then when COVID happened, it was perfect. I said, what if I keep this business mentality and this work habits that I have, I'm a really hard worker. If I keep these habits and I keep the responsibility as I have for my clients, if a client hire me for 100 euros and I break my camera, which is like, I don't know, 5,000 euros, I will still do the images and I'll give him images for, I will borrow a camera or do whatever solution, and I'll give him pictures for 100 euros, because this is my, this is like work ethic. That's the standard. If you say yes, you say yes. So I said, what if I would say yes to my art? And keep this mentality and keep these standards alive. So this was like a game changer in my life.
Yeah, actually, like you said, you need a certain mentality, a certain work ethic to be successful with art and in general. Because as it's generally said, that art, it could be like a double-edged sword. It's almost a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it emotionally when you started working on projects about New Earth, in which you're isolated in the forest, alone, away from the society? How did it affect you mentally and emotionally? Because you said you had a worst year of your life on 2019, and how did this art help you cope up with it, or did it give you an outlet to explore and express?
It was a therapy, because I was alone, and in the forest is like this, Here, you have phone and you see what you're doing, you see all this, and you can do this, you can do that, you can go there. Okay, during the COVID, it was less possible, but in the forest, you say, okay, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I need to do this. It's very elementary. And just to warm up, just to make a tea, you have to think, okay, I have to make a fire. I should not start a fire. Where the whole forest, I do when I'm driving my car, and then there are also animals, like in the forest. Like I had, I know at least twice the bear was growling at me, and but I'm not afraid of bears. I'm afraid of ticks.
No.
Yeah, the little ones, like those are more dangerous. They could really. So for me, it was like a therapy. I was alone, and I had to be very pragmatical.
Also, like you said, like this liberation, this idea of going back to the basic needs and understanding if you're hungry, if you're sleepy, if you're in danger. They compare it to the survival instinct of primitive creatures like before, and also this whole experience and you alone in the forest and creating food and having a face-off with a bear. So did it give like a certain philosophical understanding of the world? Or how did it change how you perceive the society after spending some time with your own self? Did you get to know yourself better, or like something like that, some enlightenment or something?
Definitely. When I'm I have this old timer Land Rover Defender from 1972, and I'm carrying lots of boxes on the roof. And when I'm on the roof, I say, okay, if you're gonna fall, that's it. If you're gonna fall and break your back, that's it. I don't have my phone here; it's in my car. If I'm going to break my back, I don't know if somebody will come and how can I explain where I am? I said, okay, I know two people who I could explain where I am and would know how to reach me, sometimes, the picture that picture there that is on the wall when I'm in the whale, I called my brother, I said, listen, I'm going into the whale. I did all precautions. I built a ladder, I put a rope inside, so if the ladder breaks, I have a rope. But I would be there and I need 20 minutes, and if I don't call you in 20 minutes back, call the police.
This is what it is. Like I said, and it was,
I cannot call you, but I'm in the whale, I cannot call you, I cannot, so this is kind of like, I'm always thinking like that, and when I'm saying this, okay, this is in the forest, but even when I was in Paris, because my son lives in Paris, and I miss him terribly, and I remember once I was walking through Paris, and I saw the northern star, and I just wrote in my diary, how can anybody be lost if they know where the northern star is? How can I feel lost if I know every time where the northern star is? Because it's kind of like a survival thing. And anyway, that's anytime that I speak with my son, I get very emotional.
Yeah, and also it's a very strong metaphor that you're saying, the northern star.
Yeah.
And as per the sayings go, that stars will guide you to certain places that you don't even think about it or imagine consciously.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next part. This is the phase during the projects when you were inside the forest. And did you ever feel like giving up and be like, yeah, no, this is not working for me. This is too much of a strain on me mentally, physically, and I just want to go away and just leave everything.
So it's just the opposite, I don't want to go back. I just want to stay here. I have food and water. Oh, by the way, for this, technically, I have to brought everything with me, not food, of course, but also I have to bring water, chemistry, with the glass plates and everything, so usually I stay 4 days, and then after 4 days, all my supplies were gone, and then I have to go back, and I really don't want to, I wish I could stay for another week, so not really. It never crossed my mind that this would be too much. It crossed my mind that when will I start to repeat myself? Because if you look at it, basically it's like a human, like me, make it in the forest. It's very simple. It's very simple. So how many motives you are there that then you start to repeat yourself? And then one of my last pictures were the one in the back, evaporation. And then when I made this picture, I said, oh my God, this is one of my last pictures. It's one of my best pictures. I said, oh my God, and I'm thinking maybe I could keep on working, you know. Although I came up to 37 images, which is really a lot.
So overall, this living in a forest, it was a pleasant experience for you. It was something that you would do it again.
I am doing it again, and I also bought in 2020, when it was like COVID. At the end of 2020, I decided to buy a cabin in the middle of forest. I said, "Oh my God, but I don't have money." and the guy said, "Don't worry, you will pay me when you have." I said, went to the bank. And I got a loan, and then I pay him off in June 2021. And then every year I make something, So I have this vision of me being there more and more. And not only me, also to bring my kids. This is for me, and not only my kids, also to educate other people. Because people through my videos and others, my work, they get inspired and they come to the nature. And it's like this, Then the real nature is not park, It's not park. You have to. It's not comfortable. That's also a big myth. You're relaxed. So what? I really need to. You do rest. Your mind rests, but you're physically you have to work. You're cold. You're hot. You have to do this. You have to. Nothing is self understood.
And also, nature is ruthless and it just doesn't care.
Yeah, doesn't care. That's also a thing, Like I also learned something about it, because we all have this little me, Oh, I wish I wasn't happy with that. Oh, he or she shouldn't say that or something like that, Or I'm feeling really tired and stuff. Now I feel really, like I said, every time that I feel tired, I said, okay, how can I make myself worse? And if I feel self-pity, like the last time I felt my self-pity was a week ago when I was printing this, not this exhibition, but the one that is going to Portugal. And I was like 3 weeks. I went to bed 1, 2, 3 a.m., something like that, not earlier, and working. And I know on the last day I said, I wish I would finish that. I said, okay. I said, okay, the last day I'll finish my exhibition. I'll also do fasting, no food, just tea. So I did that, just like I'm not little me, when I feel self-pity, okay. So, I find to make it, now, let's make it worse. And now when I'll never feel self-pity again. Well, if it works,
That's like a very strong of a personality trait with terms of art and this persistence. And like even this project is like the result of it, the persistence and isolation. Have there been unfortunate accidents in which, you got hurt or some technical difficulties with the camera? Because this technique, it's from 19th century, it's a lost art. And moving with a lot of, almost like a chemistry lab in your car.
Exactly.
So how do you deal with like technical difficulties with this specific art, the specific medium?
Basically, no, I didn't have any. Okay, look at my hands. Here is a deep cut. Here is a deep cut. It's actually a heel now. like Jesus.
I'm so far. Here with my hair and with my stiff mustache.
That's the funny thing, when I cut myself, not when I was working with glass, but when I was packing, when I had to rush to go to Tuscany, because I was in Tuscany just before I arrived here. I was in Tuscany, and I had to pack, and when I was packing, I cut myself on both hands, not one, both, So this kind of stuff that does happen, but nothing very serious, because as I said, I'm alone, I'm really aware I'm alone, and there is absolutely nobody that can help me. And I have to really take care of myself and not push myself too much, I have my really good dog, a guard dog, who is like guarding me before the bears, because the bears are coming close, because they smell food and they're not afraid. The big bears, they're not afraid. 2 kilos plus, they don't care. And I can hear them walking. Those chop. And then when they, that's the difference. When you hear a bear, it goes like, you don't know if it's a deer or a bear. But then when they sense that you are there, and then they stop. And then the deer will go, toop, 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 will run away. But the bear will just go like, stop, and then it stops. And it goes, stop. It was like, no rush. I know exactly, and then I see my dog, and I know exactly if it's a bear or not.
Okay, so out of curiosity, what do you actually do when you know there's a bear nearby? Do you go into your car or nothing?
What? Just like, okay, I'm close to the car. I did met when my girlfriend at the time was 6 months pregnant. We went for a small walk out of the village, in the middle of the forest, but out of the village. It was not like where I was photographing these, because this is literally in the virgin forest. And my dog smelled a bear, and then she smelled an animal. I didn't know what it is. It was like 30 meters away, and I yelled and I clapped, and there was like two little bear cubs came out and jumped. So Mama Bear was close. Yeah. So I had a camera around my neck. I didn't took any pictures. Yeah. I took out the pepper spray, and we just walked back. Yeah, and that's what we did. I do have a pepper spray.
Just in case you need.
Yeah, because
Bear is more curious than you.
The foresters were told me that it's much better than any gun. Because with a gun you would just kill yourself, or wound a bear.
That's not gonna say.
You were not saying you get yourself a proper pepper spray. They said.
Yeah. So, and also these photographs are almost like a visual allegory to original artworks which are associated with theology and this whole idea of paradise lost, and these original artworks about this birth of Venus and all of these great masters. How do you view them? Because again, you are creating something which is completely unique, and it gives a surreal aspect to these photographs, how you're creating in these spaces. How do you perceive them, as like artworks, as social documentary, or as your personal expression?
Yeah. I would say not social documentary, because it's but definitely artworks of my that are coming from inside. And well noted. It is an allegory on our Bible. A new earth comes from the Bible. Actually, Eckhart Tolle wrote a spiritual book, A New Earth, that was really. It talks about new consciousness, because also in the Bible said it's a new earth, a new sea, a new earth. There was a new sea and new earth, meaning it's a change, And when I say new earth, like my personal take is, a new earth is not something that you have to travel over the sea, although you did, but still have to travel over the sea to get a new earth. The new earth is like when you make a change in your head, you decide you are a different person, and then you walk a new earth. You never walked on this, even you live, let's say, you walk this path every day for the last 20 years, but now you make a decision in your life, something changed in your life, and you're walking the new earth because you're a different person. Like this Greek proverb said, you never step in the same water, in the same river again, because this is not the same water and you're not the same man.
Yeah.
This is kind of the idea. Mm-hmm. So a new earth is now, inside. And yeah, you mentioned the Venus and Botticelli. I think Botticelli. In 2020, as everybody else, we were confined. We were looking at YouTube because we cannot go out. So I looked at for photography content, and it was just like, I did MA in photography, so it was like so boring, like elementary about photography. Content was really not inspiring me at all. So then I went to see painters, which was perfect, because I know very little about painters, and I went to this basic about painting. So and I learned and I kind of discovered a new way of looking at the image, because the painter can do everything, can have a sky, this kind of can draw a bird on the sky or a cloud on us or not, can decide that. And we photographers, we are very limited in that. So kind of like to join this kind of this viewpoints together was kind of very refreshing for me.
Mm-hmm. Also, taking from the Greek proverb, you said, like, you never step in the same river and you're not the same man. you're taking self-portraits.
Yeah.
And how do you identify like these ideas, this entity? Is this the same Borut Peterlin in the photographs that's sitting with me here today? Or how does this sense of self changes when the mechanical shutter of camera just lets you free of that exposure time you're in front of it? Does it transforms you into a different person, or is it the same person who clicked the shutter and ran away in front of the camera to take the photo? How does that changes your perception of self and self-identity?
Well, I would say like this. I would definitely noted that there are many sides of because one is like a soldier, like there's a bear, I don't care. Like actually, I when the first time that the bear was growling, I grabbed the torch and an axe, and I just went to see what it was going. Like really, really, like there was like absolutely no fear. Just go, okay, we're gonna fight. So that was like a little bit stupid, but that's what happened. The second, this is one guy, like one person. The second guy is very pragmatical. He says, okay, you have to do this. This is very complicated process, so it has to be very, very meticulous. Like very, very technically. This is kind of in my blood now. I don't think anymore. Just like a piano player doesn't have to think about the notes. He just thinks like happy, he's happy. Sad, he's sad. I would never. I don't know how they do that, but I know how to do that with photography. So. So there are many sides, and surprise, I started to write poems. I never did that before. Even now, seldomly, maybe once in a month, something comes and I write. Now I write a book, which will be a totally different story. Maybe we can mention that in the end. So it's very, very interesting to learn something about yourself. Mm-hmm. How you function, what are your advantages, what are your weaknesses. A certain part of me is like very, very, very fragile. Every time that I talk about my son, I start to cry. It happened to me so many times in front of public. I started to cry, I had to stop there. I had to go to the toilet to refresh myself, That's how it is. And the other guy, would just grab an axe and go under for the bear, that's both of me, So it's good to learn about that. So yeah, so it is. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and I never know who will show up. I'm not schizophrenic, but it's kind of like I'm in a good company. And just after silent, and everything is good, because if you are a true self, you act from your peace, you act from your peace, if you don't act, let's say now, I know that you're listening to me, but sometimes when you talk to somebody and the other person already know what he will say, and just like you kind of like you're taking his or her space. Well, this is not that, like when you're listening, you're just listening, you're not thinking about what you're going to say again, what will be your answer or what will be so this is what I was saying, your action comes from within, from your peace.
So it's almost as if you create these personas, these personalities, which try to each of the separate frames, conveying a certain visual idea or metaphor, a certain identity, which is, again, the same as you, but not the exact same thing.
The part of me, it just comes out like left, right. Is this what is more me? This or this, or this? Yeah, which is more me? Yeah, I don't know. How did you tell me? If I go for a run, this is me. If I go for a fight, this is me. This. I work. This is me. This is.
And if a bear shows up, an axe.
Yeah. The axe again. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. Also, photography as a medium, do you think that it helped you explore this whole idea in a better way? Because the thing with photography, it's like an imitation of reality. But you can reproduce many frames, many prints of the same image, but that instant is forever frozen in eternity, and it will never happen again. So how do you think about it in general in terms of like a medium that allows you to be yourself and explore and talk about this new earth? And also there was this idea of this being a kingdom, a space around you. So how do you build up upon that?
You know, it's very interesting because if I would use a digital camera, it's a click, and it's a click. With this, you have to 1 day of preparation just before that you go. You know, you have to work 1 day that you go, and you prepare yourself maybe 6 plates, and then during the day, if it's a good day, you make 2 or 3 plates, and exposure is long. You know, like I don't know. It's long, I don't know, minutes, it's minutes. There are minutes of exposure or seconds, This one was like more like 60 seconds or something like that. And the other one was more than that. But I had the longest was one, it's not here, but I was laying, it was like for 15 minutes or something like that. I was laying, so that's very different, It's not click, it's kind of you feel this eternity, when you're working on it, and it's also good. There is absolutely, if you rush, that's also good. If you are feeling rushed, then it's better to stop and go to do, I don't know, to watch TV. It's better than to feel rushed and try to do that, because it will never happen. You will just be frustrated, and the plate will not happen. So it's a good discipline.
Also, can you tell us a bit more about the specific technique, where it comes from, and why do you choose to do this ancient art, like? It sounds surreal because no one really uses it anymore, not at the commercial level. Very few artists, which includes you, use this as an expressive art form. And why would you choose to do this specific technique in 2023 when it was lost in early 19th century?
It's a very simple process because of the quality of the work. It's digital photography cannot offer me this tonality, cannot offer me this beauty, and on top of that, it's just very simple. It's really, really difficult to work. It's also very expensive and very slow process, and so. But it's like I'm not afraid of hard work, and if will give me 10% more beautiful images, I will do for that 10%. I will do like 150% more work, no problem.
Also, with this technique, there were certain challenges when it comes to glass negatives, creating these plates. The major reason why they were not used because it was first expensive and it was very fragile to export or to transport around the places. How do you deal with that? Because it's again glass. It can just break at a bomb that it's got.
So in my first expedition for this, I came up on the top of the hill. I slept over. By the way, I also met a bear. It was like at night, and I saw a bear. So I came there. I prepared everything. I prepared a camera. I set up a tent and everything. A chemistry. I came on the roof to get the glass plates, and all the glasses were shattered.
Oh my God!
Not even one single plate survived. All of them. I said, okay, and this is also one of my premise of this work. I said, no stress. Okay, that's how it is. Obviously, I will not start today. And I just put it, and then I had to, because I could not leave things so obvious, I had to hide. I put it away, I hid it, I went back home. Because I designed the box, the transport box, but it was not good design. This is not good design. So when I was shaking, it was broke. So I came back the next day and I continued working. So that's how it was. So yeah, it happens. You have to think, and you have to repeat. And yeah, it's not comfortable at all.
Yeah, like you said, you designed the box yourself to transport them. So it's almost as if photography made you a jack of all trades. You need to learn other crafts as well, and besides photography, and besides there's already challenging art when colored in and these specific prints. And some of these are like carbon prints. Can you talk about that? Like how special it is, or why would someone want, like for example, a photography student such as me would like to start working with carbon prints and this specific technique?
Yeah. So I just have it in the other room, a sample of carbon print, which I will show you a little bit later. So basically it's a pigmented gelatin. It's very simple. It's a gelatin, sugar, water, ink, or whatever pigment you want to put. and the sensitizer. Sensitizer is the one that is poisonous. So this is why you have to be. That's why it's not so popular.
Yeah.
But all the rest is basically household item. And then, but as you know, the devil rests in details. So you have to be, the air bubbles and everything has to. It took me years. It literally took me about to be here where I am. It took me a decade. A decade of really hard work and dedication to know my process and it's just like that. I do it. I don't think about it anymore. I just do it. And I just got like comments on. I was making this big tissues because I have to make my own photo paper too. And I make this big tissue, this big sheets, on my table. And I got a comment, oh my God, and I'm freaking out when I'm doing like A4. And you're doing this. And I said, yeah, I'm doing it and I'm doing it just I did it so many times that I do it without thinking. And then I also have workshops. People are coming from all over the world to my little town of Straža to learn this technique. So I'm very fortunate it was a good time I invested in this to learn this technique.
Yeah. And speaking of the devil, we can look at certain images and connect them to the original Dante story of Paradise Lost and about Adam and Eve. And how do you perceive, is this project completed, partially completed, or it has some another complicated underlying layer of understanding that we are not aware of yet?
Yeah, now we are coming back to the beginning, yeah? because this project was intended to be a man and a woman, was and then my woman left with my child to live, and then I realized, I screw up my life, because I will not have a family, which I intended to have, and so on. So, it was Paradise Lost. So that's how it was. So what to say? We will see. We will see. Maybe a right person will show up and will be daring to, or I'm pretty sure it will to continue this project. But it will not be me, but will be a woman and then a man and a woman. So, and I was thinking even to have a model. To have somebody to teamwork. It has to be. It's so personal. It has to be my life's partner or nobody. That's how it is. That's how I feel. It will be. I could do it easily. It wouldn't. But it would feel fake for me. I have to say one more thing, which is not obvious. I never did any nudes. Well, only in Fanu when we had to do it. We had to do a twarsha tielo, was a one book. That was the only time that we had to do, and I photographed my brother. Yeah. But otherwise, I never photographed any lady, woman naked, or it was not my thing. It's just not my thing. And this one, okay, I was the most logical thing is, what you don't know, Andrea. Maybe rarely people from Slovenia know Alan Karanite. He's the top costumographer, really the world-class costumographer. I told him when we worked together, I told him about my idea. I said, listen, you can take whatever costume of mine. Gee, thank you. And I was thinking what kind of costume would be, because he has creatures, devils, angels, big costumes, small costumes, wow, amazing things. Really world-class custodian. I didn't had I don't know. And for me, it was just being naked was the only solution, because it has to be timeless. It has to be timeless. It could be the beginning of the world or the end of the world or now. It doesn't matter. That's how it has to be.
And plus, without any clothes and being nude, it makes you vulnerable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But how do you adjust to it? Because we are so used to wearing clothes and in our daily life. How was it to get out of that comfort zone and be alone in front of a camera and use your treat your body as an object for the photograph?
It was like, my parents, when we were little, we went to nudist camps all the time. My parents, that was like, in the 80s, that was the thing, Everybody went to the nudist camps. Yeah. And so it was, when we were children, we were at the nudist camp all the time. Of course, now it's different time. My daughter would die, would definitely die if I would suggest something like that. That would be the end of my fatherhood. But literally, but I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't have any fears or whatever. Like, that way. Like literally, like I really don't feel anything about it. I didn't even thought about it. Like it's okay, this is the most logical thing. That's what it's going to be. And when decision is made, is made. Like I'm not thinking about what people will say. Oh, I have an anecdote to say. My friend, because it also goes back to Foundlo time. We were Foundlo students, and we were posing to each other. And my friend. Jure had a project about sexual identity, and he said, I need you guys to stand there, and I'll be like kind of like first gender, and you will be standing like guy naked. Okay, Jure, no problem. We stand with him. He took a portrait, and then he did the same thing with women. So we said okay, and whatever, like fine, yeah. So, and then I didn't care, but the others, they cared, like, especially the women said, but, this is only for Prague. Yeah, this is only for Prague. Nobody will see. This is a student college. He won a photographer of the year. Oh, my. And these pictures were in the national newspaper, like Slovenské novice,
Everyone saw. Why did you care? They didn't care, but my neighbors cared. So we're the always scared. So let's get like this, maybe I have a history. Of course, it would be new from topic newspaper, but that's how it is.
Yeah, then an amazing discussion regarding your experiences and everything. One last thing that I would like to know about this new consciousness. How do you think it's gonna evolve from this point forward? Is it going to branch out, or is it going to focus on something? And how do you relate it to your inspirations and your experiences?
Yeah, basically in a book that really influenced me, Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, is talking about that. Everybody, you, me, everybody knows that this way of life that we are living is not sustainable. Mm-hmm. We don't know if it's sustainable for 50 years, 100 years, maybe 150. We have no idea. But it's not sustainable. It will not last. We know, everybody knows that. So we will have to evolve. As a species, we will have to evolve. And how we will evolve, you were asking me, I have no idea. I know what I have to do. I know what I have to do personally, and this is what I do, and each of you knows what you can do, And one of the things is actually what we are seeing here, sharing this ideas, asking these questions, and and giving food for thought. Who are we, where we are going, and what are we leaving behind us?
Absolutely. So before we open the discussion for questions and everything, I would like to urge you to maybe read the poem, The King, from your book, because I feel like it's the king of the new earth that we all want to know and hear from your own words.
Okay. King without a kingdom, without subjects, without a court. King without a crown, without a sword, without a scepter. A king in service of others paces his kingdom upright, proud, and courageous, for he knows he is king. And he bows low to everyone, for he knows he has met his equal, the same as him. So basically, this poem talks about, feeling inside as a king, and and there is absolutely no need to rule to anybody. You feel your worth, and my worth is not, I see in you, in everybody, we are equal. We are all kings, queens, and so on. meaning, because usually when we look in our society is always, you're worth that much, you're having this position, you're having that position, you achieve that, we are comparing each other itself. But the real worth comes from inside, and it's like I feel no less if I say that you are great, I feel no less great than, yeah, but that's the point. That's the essence of this thought, you can be a king without a kingdom and you still feel a king.
So it's something larger than life and the universe itself. Yeah.
It's a feeling that you are alive. It's a feeling that you're alive, and I am life, but so are you. So are you. Everybody is alive, So I cannot say I'm more alive than you are. It would be ridiculous. You are here, and you are, and we are celebrating this, but we are alive.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much for going through this. Now we are looking for questions if you have any.
So,
You said you're writing a book though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book. It's coming back to this. I am after this emotional separation with basically it's like this. You have to know one thing. When you're 20 or something like that. Yeah. When I was your age, I started dating a girl that I spent 21 years with. So like till 41, I was with her from 20 to 41. And I grew up as together with a woman, like that was like my life, and then we separated, and I always wanted to be, to rebuild this, that's why I rebuilt, I tried to rebuild my family. It didn't work. And now I think I met a person that I said, okay, this is the last woman that I met, and the last woman that I date. And we are writing a book together. She's, by the way, a marriage counselor. So I said, if that will not work with her, then that's it. Then I'm done, then I'm cooked. That's it. I'm going to monastery or whatever, So this, and the project, the book has a title already. It's called Project in Marriage. So coming back to this theme, because it has this underlying idea, and maybe we will. I mean, the plan is that we continue this idea together, and we'll incorporate that text that we will write. Because we're all grown up. We are all born over 40, and we are bringing our emotional baggage together and opening the suitcases and mixing it. And so it will be fun. It will be a fun room. It will definitely be a good book. But we don't know what will be the ending. It will be that.
I mean, it can always be an open book. Just keep going. Never ending.
No, every story has to end. But I hope it will be like the death do us apart. And that's the ending that you're counting on. Yeah.
You get inspiration from any philosophies like Eastern, really?
Yeah, definitely. Well, this Eckhart Tolle that I mentioned, he is talking about living in the present moment, the most, like this is the core thing, and that's Eastern philosophy. But then again, he's also quoting the Bible very often. I'm not a religious person at all. I'm not, although I have, I cherish, I appreciate, actually, if I wanted, by chance, I passed the church and I step inside and I just sit, because it feels good, it feels good, like, it's I don't know any prayers, but it feels good to be there in a sacred place and just to be, to feel your heartbeat, and that's it. So that would, but philosopher, I don't know. I mean, it could go full. I only say that there was one, but it would be just like I was reading a lot about identity in the sense of who we are and so on. Like from since I was going through the art history, and I learned in the paintings there's always some philosophy and some movements that are coming through, and all this is very, very important. But I would not really cite Eckhart Tolle and Alan Watts. I would not put anybody out. I would not highlight anybody. Or I might from a history of photography, I might highlight another person, which is, oh my God, no, I didn't forget, Anna Mendieta.
I almost have a blackout. I'm say, oh my God, I forgot for the
Anna Mendieta. You know, the thing is this, you know, Anna Mendieta is a land artist. It's called land artist? Land art. So basically she creates with land, and she's she was like the pioneer of feminism and documenting her stuff on video. So basically it's just the opposite of everything that I'm interested in. But I was in a Martin Gropiusbau, and if I'm in Berlin, I always see this museum, you know, whatever they have, I want to see. So this Anna Mendieta, or she was by profession, she was a sculptor, and she was very interested in the art of inks and mayas. So she was doing this figures, you know, of inks and mayas, and she looked at it and said, oh, it looks so plain. You know, like Papi was from Egypt. It looks the same, but it's so fake, you know, feels so fake. So she said, but those statues were used in rituals. You know, they were not made for art purposes. They were made for ritual. And so she started to perform rituals in nature, and she was documenting that, and that documentation became her art. So I said, oh, what if I perform rituals in nature and make and document them in photography? So this is kind of like idea that came through, you know, this kind of idea, approach. It's not, okay, I want to, this, but no, it's kind of like a ritual. Yeah, it's like kind of like a ritual. And then, you know, all of them, you know, it's kind of like a ritual, a sacrifice. The first ritual was a sacrifice. I don't know, probably is in another room. So that was like obvious sacrifice, you know, it was like, and then the second one was a father and son. So it came up from, it was literally a ritual, you know, I felt sacrificed, I felt, you know, like kind of things fall apart. And of course my son, and then a step at a time, and then I finished the evaporation when, you know, I feel like my ego evaporated, you know, slowly but surely evaporated in the middle of forest, and I didn't care so much. I mean, not that I didn't care, but, you know, I was just there and just being present. So I hope that answers it.
What about your poetry? Where did you write most of it?
It just happened. I had dreams. I woke up in the middle of the night and I just started writing it. I didn't even saw what I'm writing. I just saw the half mean, and I saw that this is the word and this is the word. I couldn't read that. It's like, I have to write it down, otherwise it will go away. I think in mornings, usually always in the mornings. But I do have my notebook all the time, and I just write little things. It's just kind of it's kind of like, you know, as I said from the beginning, I'm a father of 3 kids. So, you know, I have this feeling, okay, and I have this mentality that I mentioned before. I am now a professional artist, you know. I feel like I have this work ethic that is ruthless, you know. I really, like, you know, like as I mentioned, if I feel self-pity, I start fasting. You first, okay, now you suffer. You know? I just kind of like, I feel really disciplined and running. If I don't feel, I have this work ethic that is not for everybody. It's like this, and I have this attitude for myself, but I would not recommend it to anybody else. But for me, I know. Yeah, this is also very true, you know, because we don't know what we are and what we are capable of. We are so capable, so much more than we think, so much more. But you know, we, you know, you always take reference against me, against, you know, somebody else, against your parents and so on, and your neighbors and so on. You don't know if this is what it. So if you push yourself, then you realize, okay, you know, my body is, because I do my cold showers in the morning, like just like normal, like just like it's like 4 degrees Celsius water. I just showered, normal, like just it's literally nothing. Like I never feel, I never get cold, I never get ill, I never feel cold. You know, it's like I just treat my body as, you know, come on, like don't give me this. You know, don't do this excuses. We don't try to. Oh, why worrying? Well, I'm always thinking about my ancestors. It's like your ancestors, our ancestors went through ice age. You know, running barefoot in the ice. You know, hunting. You know, and if they were weak, they died. You know. And they survived, and that's why you're here and I'm here. You know, and now I'm afraid of, you know, cold shower. So this is
natural selection at its
like just like realizing who we are, you know, because this is actually the you know, realizing who I am, who we are.
Yeah, I suppose so, because Eckhart also has a big power of now.
Yeah.
But the power of now, it's about being present. But photography is something that breaks the rule in a way, because it's not being present, it's being already.
No, it's because
You're capturing this moment, which already is the past moment, whereas it's not the power of now anymore.
No, because you're seeing it in the present moment, and where it's like it's a
Communication with the urge.
Like when I look at it, I say, oh, you know, I remember this and this and this. Now I'm not now I'm not in the moment. Now I'm in the memory. But when you see it, you don't have the memories. Maybe, you know, maybe tomorrow you will have a memory, especially if you know if something, or maybe. But even that, you know, like power now, it's basically just.
But you're trying to capture in the now of then, to show,
of course,
us then as a now.
Well, no, actually, it was just me. It was like no you. There was no us. There was like just me being alone in the forest. I was just like, this is so good, you know, because you just know what's your next step. You know, it's just like your next step. You have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this. You're not thinking about, oh, we're going to sell this, or will this ever be exposed in Prague, you know?
We could never trust the lines.
Yeah. I mentioned before, and I feel like a professional artist. That's like one side of me. But when I'm creating, I push myself to get there, and like kind of like to push the artist to work, you know, because it's lazy, stereotypically. But I push myself to do the art. But then, you know, I'm there, and you say, okay, I'm here, you know. And usually I come a day earlier. The best is when before the storm. So I set everything in a tent, so it's like on the dry, and then I'm inside in a van or in a car, and then you know, then the time passes, and then slowly but sure, because our mind is chattering all the time. If you noticed, you know, we all have this voice in our head who's going. And then you think, well, you said that before. Yeah, 99% what you think today, we thought yesterday or the day before, you know. Maybe it was just like, you know, instead of John was like, I don't know, Marco, you know. But, you know, the roles have changed. But it's the same thing. It's the same wheel. But in the forest, it takes like 24 hours that this wheel slows down, you know. So your thought processes slows down. It maybe stops for a while, but it slows down. This is the point, yeah. So the power.
I think is that you're saying that your ego was evaporating in the last age, but ego which makes artists being able to create. Having my father's knife, and I think that ego walks in front of you, but I think always so.
Good, yeah.
So ego, you believe in healthy ego and bad ego, or what ego was evaporating?
For me, ego is ego. You know, ego is bad or good. You know, it could be bad.
Level
Well, I'm not saying it's, and I'm not saying, well, this is a symbol, right? It's not that I'm saying that I'm not without ego. That's not true.
Yeah, obviously not this.
Well, I said, you know, because we are communicating with ego, you know, we are communicating. This is a best tool, you know. If there would be no ego, there would be no human civilization. We would be like dogs or rats, you know, or monkeys, you know. We would. The best case, you know, but now we communicate, and it's a tool, you know. It's a thinking. It's amazing. It's the best tool. It's the best tool that we have. The problem is if we cannot stop it. And that is like, then the wars are happening because,
So this symbol, the thing for you was some kind of your personal evil, your personal hurt.
Or I would say like the path for everybody to just sometimes just, like in the beginning I have the song, would you hold it against me if I would die? And then it's finished. Would you want me to return, or would you too want completely unnoticed sometimes to disappear? So this is kind of like evaporation. It's kind of like okay, you done great job. I just want to rest a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you will come back. Then we will go to Prague and do all this stuff. All these talks and everything. But about it's about yeah. But yeah, so it's got a balance. It's had a balance. Without it, it's also boring.
I know that every artist needs appreciation, and this is how artists create without things but appreciation and
Of course. So So thank you for everybody to show up. And yes, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Good.